Hello guys, this is Pearl and today I am super excited to take you through a quick tutorial on flex layouts. Now we are going to find out what a flex layout is, the importance of a flex layout and some features of a flex layout, and also how flex layout works in Speedwapp. So let's quickly get started. I have three elements inside my section, or I have three elements in the editor right here, and all these elements are block elements. Now, one of the major properties of a block element is that it takes up the full width of the page, or it takes up the full width of the editor. So as you can see, all the headings have taken up the full width of the page, and even including the section has taken the full width of the page, which tells you that all these elements are block elements. But flex is entirely different. Flex works in a very different way. So immediately I click on flex, you can see that all the element has been packed to the left corner of the container. So one major property of flex is that it allows you or gives you the freedom to control all your elements inside a container. That is why it is called flex box in the first place. Now, one major feature, most important feature of a flex box or a flex layout is that it provides a more efficient way to lay out and align and also distribute space among items inside the container, and this is a very great feature of flex. Now let's quickly explore these other flex properties right here. To control your element inside of the container, you first of all have to make sure that the container or the section is selected, and you can play with any of these flex panels to control the element inside of the container. So these first 5 options, flex start, center, flex end, space around, and space between, allows you to distribute your element horizontally. So these first 5 options are for horizontal distribution. So when I click on flex start, my elements are going to be packed at the left hand side of the container. So they are going to be packed from the start of the container. Now when I click on center, the elements are going to be packed in the middle of the container. When I click on flex end, the elements are going to be flexed to the end of the container, but horizontally. Okay, horizontally, because this is for horizontal distribution. Now when I click on space around, there's going to be space around my element. So I have space here, I have space here, I have space here, and I also have space here. And when I click on space between, there's going to be space between my element inside the container, but still horizontally. So these first 5 options right here are for controlling your element horizontally or distributing your element horizontally. Now, before we move on to this, let me just switch back to center. Okay, so this second options right here, the second 5 options right here, also allows you to control or distribute your elements vertically inside of the section. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 allows you to distribute your elements vertically inside the container. So when I click on the first one, flex start, my elements are just going to be distributed vertically, but at the start of the container. When I click on center, the elements are going to be centered vertically inside of the container. When I click on this one right here, flex end, the elements are going to be flexed at the end of the container, but vertically. When I click on stretch, my elements are going to be stretched. And when I click on the last one, which is baseline, the elements are going to be arranged or aligned at the baseline, but vertically. So you can see that even though they are of different sizes, they've all been aligned neatly at the base. All right, now let's move on. We are going to explore the last flex option, okay? The last flex option, which is right here, the drop down arrow and this properties. And to do that, you have to duplicate the elements. So let's select any of the elements. I'm going to select the last element, which is general, and I'm going to duplicate that element. So press on your keyboard Control or Command D and duplicate 3 times. Now, once you duplicate the element inside of the container, and you can see that all the elements are not visible. You can't see some of your elements. You don't know where the other elements are, and this is very bad. You have to make sure that all the elements can be seen inside of the container. So for you to make sure that all your elements are visible inside the container, when you have a lot of elements inside of that container, click on this drop down arrow right here. Now when you click on the drop down arrow, change from don't wrap to wrap. Now immediately you change it to wrap, you can see that all your elements are now visible inside the container. And when you change to wrap, you can also use these options right here to also distribute your element or pack your element to the beginning of the container. So when I click on flex start, you can see that the elements are going to be flexed at the start or the top of the container. When I click on center, the elements are going to be packed in the middle of the container, but all of them are visible as well. When I click on flex end, the elements are going to move to the end of the container. When I click on space around, there's going to be space all around my element, space between. There are going to be spaces between my elements. So that is how to use this property right there. That is how to use this last option right there. It is just to make all your elements inside of the container very visible, and also to determine how you want them to be aligned, either flex start, center, flex end. You want to stretch your component, anything you want to do. That is how you use these options, and that is how to use the options right here in flex. The last thing I'd like to show you is how to change the orientation of your element inside of this container. Before we do that, let me quickly delete all the things I duplicated before. I'm going to delete all the things I duplicated, and I'll just leave these 3 elements inside of the container. Now for you to change the orientation of the element inside of your container, all you have to do is to click on this drop down arrow right here, and you can change the orientation to the vertical orientation. And as you see right here, the elements are going to be aligned vertically inside of the container. Now if you want to change the order of your element, you can just click the same drop down arrow right here and change horizontal. H stands for horizontal, so you can change it to horizontal reverse, and the order of your items or the order of your elements are going to be changed. So if I click on horizontal reverse, it's going to be the order of my items have been changed. So you can see that the first one have moved to the last, and the last one has moved to the first. Okay, so that is how to change the order of your items inside the editor horizontally. Now let's change the order vertically. So to change your order of your items or the order of your elements inside of your container vertically, click on V reverse. So V stands for vertical reverse. So I'm going to click on V reverse, and it's going to change the order of my element vertically. So that is how to change the order, and also that is also how to change the orientation of your element. Okay people, so this brings us to the end of today's tutorial on how to use a flex layout in Speedwapp, and thank you for sticking with me from the beginning to the end. If you have learned something new, all you have to do is to click on the subscribe button right below, and I promise to come your way with more interesting and educative content for you to learn something new. Thank you for subscribing, and I will see you in the next tutorial.